Thank you, Sarah and Wolf Ollens, for this invitation and bringing me into the space. What a powerful perspective and work by Francis West and Fiona Rogers. Really feeling humbled to be part of this panel. So today I'm going to touch on breaking generational curses. It is the first time I'm actually sort of thinking about this in a public facing way, but it's been something that's been on my mind for a very long time. So when I was in high school, when I just finished high school, I found myself asking myself, am I allowed to dream and to manifest from this place of wonder and curiosity? What am I allowed to dream about? What is it to dream anyway? A seemingly innocent question asked by a child who was at the precipice of what life could become. But I soon realized that the question wasn't innocent in retrospect, right? The question wasn't innocent. It was informed and contained by the reality of socio-political and socio-economic conditioning, by histories of violence, which are colonialism, slavery, apartheid, gender inequality, environment, justice, by carefully engineered institutional and systemic rules, regulations, and laws, by architectural histories of forced removals, urban planning, and creating ghettos. So what I was asking myself was, has there ever been a space made for an African Black queer woman from the ghetto to be anything else besides free, cheap Black labor? Or do I and all the women before me need to imagine and create that place and space? So generational curses are a combination of generations of systemic violence, discrimination, and ancestral spiritual displacement. So what I've been thinking about is what generational curses, breaking generational curses looks like, or where can we begin to do this kind of work, or how we have already been doing this work. So for me, colonialism, slavery, apartheid is not my timeline. It is not my violence. It is not my history. It is, however, something done to my people, and it has had generational consequences. And so part of breaking generational curses is self-reconciliation, meaning to reconcile with this history, with the understanding that I am not, I am, who I am does not begin and end with this violence. I am not defined by it. I do not need to trace my family lineage through it. What I mean is, as an African woman, the world projects onto me this violence as inherited generational trauma without acknowledging or taking responsibility as to who created and performed and sustained the violence. At the same time, it wants me to only see myself through it, that this is the only thing my people left behind, of which I realized that my existence is proof of my lineage being insistent and deliberate and committed to me being here, and that I am here because of their ancient indigenous ancestral wisdom. And so I align with that. Tenderness, I call it. Because being colonized or enslaved is to be denied access to yourself on a celestial and ancestral level. Thus, the tenderness is giving yourself permission to see yourself through the spiritual work of aligning with the indigenous ancestral wisdom practices. But it is also asking, where does it hurt? How does it hurt? Why does it hurt? How did the pain get there? So that you can be aware of how to do the unwounding work, again, tenderness, that takes you out of the plantation and into what your ancestors desired for themselves and therefore you. To be soft, to be joyous, to be curious, to dream and to love and be loved unconditionally. It is also moving out of survival mode. Being Black, being a woman, and being queer is filled with precarity, a precarious reality that requires you to move, to have to survive being here, because you live in a space without spaciousness. You live in an anti-Black world, in an anti-woman world, in an anti-queer world. And so you might have learned to move through the world with armor, to protect yourself, with fear of losing everything that you have obtained, anxiety, because the reality seems unbearable. So here there's a quest for relevance. for something other than pain or damage. And for me, that means being aligned or aligning with yourself and the ancestral, to go back to the places you have been denied about yourself, to go to the places you were told they are not enough or worthy, to go to the places that are consistently required to be magical or extraordinary for them to be seen. And so it is returning to yourself what has been lost or demonized or damaged as a way to reroute and remember, so that you no longer have to survive this living experience. And for me personally, what I'm talking about, or what that looks like, is radical Black queer self love, which is a deep understanding of my own aliveness and that I am worthy because I exist, and that my existence matters not as a resistance or a response or reaction, it just matters and it is valid. So, this is why I curate, because I do not want to lose my ability to dream a world. This is my consistent and deliberate encounter with breaking generational curses. I dream and manifest from that dreaming. I live with hope as a discipline that holds all my dreams, and I'm deliberate about being here and my purpose and my ancestors. An artist I'm currently working with, Katitu Tayasu, who's an animist, said to me yesterday, "Women carry the grain." And this is what I leave with you today. I'd like you to remember this. Women carry the grain. Thank you.